Space Goat! Space Goat! Space Goat! Coast to coast. New Mexico is home to many incredible engineering feats. Today, technology can help create some amazing architectural wonders, but to what purpose? Facades are impressive, but the principle for which they're erected is frequently for looks, and size doesn't always matter. In this episode, Space Goat traverses the state to point out engineering marvels that made a difference. Number 5. Spaceport America. Spaceport came into existence early in the 21st century. The facility's website says the location is situated on 18,000 acres adjacent to the U.S. Army White Sands Missile Range as a rocket-friendly environment of 6,000 square miles of restricted airspace, a 12,000-foot by 200-foot runway, and vertical launch complexes. Number 4. The New Mexico Museum of Space History Cube. The New Mexico Museum of Space History, keeper of artifacts integral to the history of the Tularosa Basin's participation in the space race, opened on October 5, 1976. Nearby White Sands Missile Range is where captured German rocket engineers came to America to work in 1945, making southeast New Mexico the birthplace of American spaceflight. Opened as the International Space Hall of Fame, the collection of artifacts grew, the mission expanded, and the Hall of Fame remained an integral part of what is now the Museum of Space History. Businessman Dwight Ollinger, a former Alamogordo mayor, came up with the dream and supporters came on board, including the fastest man on Earth, Dr. John Stapp, and Dr. Ernst Steinhoff, a World War II German engineer and pilot. Governor Bruce King issued a proclamation and the city of Alamogordo passed a resolution. U.S. Senator Pete Domenici entered the idea into the congressional record, and the Alamogordo Chamber of Commerce established an executive committee. The cube was to be the showpiece of a large complex. The blueprints called for the cube to be balanced on a corner, but this was found to be an unsound engineering option. At opening, budgets had nixed the additional structures. G. Harry Stein, an engineer at White Sands Missile Range, author of more than 30 science fiction and nonfiction books, and who is also known as the father of model rocketry, became interim director during planning and construction. Around opening weekend was also Dr. Robert Goddard's 94th birthday, the 50th anniversary of Goddard's first liquid-fueled rocket flight, the 19th anniversary of the Soviet Union's Sputnik 1 flight, and the anniversary of the first successful launching of a V-2 rocket from Peenemünde on the Baltic Sea. Number 3. The tower at Trinity site at White Sands Proving Ground. The letter that Albert Einstein and Hungarian physicist Leo Szilard wrote to President Franklin Roosevelt in 1939 was a warning. Germany most likely had the capability of developing an atomic bomb. After the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor in December 1941, the American government acquired the land that would become White Sands Proving Ground, now White Sands Missile Range. Inside this location, at what's called Trinity Site, was where the first atomic bomb was tested in July 1945. To detonate the explosively new technology, a 100-foot tower was erected at Ground Zero. At 5:30 a.m., the bomb, hanging from the tower and called Gadget, lit. Successful, this led to Little Boy's deployment over Hiroshima and subsequently Fat Man over Nagasaki. Japan's war with America was over. Today, White Sands allows public visitation twice a year. Visitors see Ground Zero and the tower, or what's left. These pieces of rebar still stick out of the hard-packed ground. Number 2. Launch Complex 33 at White Sands Missile Range. The day after White Sands Proving Ground officially opened on July 9, 1945, construction of Launch Complex 33 began. An adjacent blockhouse would protect occupants if hit by a rocket that fell from a 100-mile altitude. Soon, captured German V-2s, pieced together by rocket technology brought from Germany at the end of World War II, were lifting off. Over the years, other technology would be tested at LC-33. Today, this engineering marvel holds a Hermes missile and is a National Historic Landmark. Not open to visitors because of the Army's ongoing work, The orange and white tower can be seen in the distance by drivers along U.S. Highway 70 between Las Cruces and Alamogordo. Number 1. The test track at Holloman Air Force Base. On December 10, 1954, Dr. John Stapp took his 29th rocket sled ride, this one at the Holloman Air Force Base test track. Strapped onto the Sonic Wind 1, rockets accelerated Stapp to 632 miles per hour in about 5 seconds. The sled was actually faster than a .45 caliber bullet shot from a handgun. Stapp then hit a water-braking system that slammed him to a dead stop in 1.4 seconds. Stapp's 29 grueling rocket sled rides caused blisters and black and blue eyes, a broken wrist, ribs and tailbone, mild concussions, and temporary blindness from retinal hemorrhaging. 6 fillings shot out of his mouth when Stapp was slammed to stops. Eventually, his time on the sleds would rob him of half his lung capacity. The track then was about 10,000 feet in length. Today, the technology is still active and some 10 miles long. The track holds the land speed record for rocket sleds at Mach 8.6. Stapp's work ensured jet pilots could survive high-speed ejections and also led to vehicular seatbelts. He also designed the Daisy Decelerator. The first run was in September 1955 and 120 feet long before being lengthened to 240 feet. The purpose was similar, just powered by a massive air compressor, the same as the Daisy air rifle after which the track was named. Air costs about 5 cents a test versus expensive rockets. Daisy became crucial in testing landing systems to safely return Project Apollo astronauts to Earth. Stapp declared, "It might be said that at the cost of a few stiff necks, kinked backs, bruised elbows, and occasional profanity, the Apollo capsule has been made safe for the 3 astronauts who will have perils enough left over in the unknown hazards of the first flight to the moon." The most severe stop occurred to Eli Beating, whose body went into shock after he endured 83 Gs to his lower back for a brief part of a second, riding backward. He quickly recovered. The Daisy Decelerator is on display at the New Mexico Museum of Space History. Thanks, Space Code, for once again giving us a tour of New Mexico's most fascinating history and tales. Stay tuned for Space Goat's next foray, and be sure to follow and like us on Facebook, YouTube, and nmspacemuseum.org.